Hey mate, are you looking to increase your bench press? Well, today I'm going to go through a few different ways you can increase your bench press without having to lift more weight. Let's check it out. Okay, so I'm sitting down on the bench press today. We've got the barbell ready. We're ready to increase some weight, right? So you're probably wondering, how can you actually increase the amount you're lifting by not adding more weight to it? That's the only way to do it, isn't it? Yes, progressive overload does work, right? But after a while, you keep adding on the weight, and you just hit a sticking point, you hit a bit of a plateau, and you can't increase the weight anymore. So just increasing the weight will get you places, but it does eventually taper off. You eventually get to a plateau and you've got these other ways you can push through to that. That's why we start to break down the different elements of your bench press. In other words, you're going to start focusing on things rather than just your strength. We start focusing on other elements of it. So one would be for how fast you push the barbell off your chest. Or the other element is breaking down the bench press in different portions. So today we're going to focus on a bit on the top portion of your bench press, okay? And then also focusing on the bottom portion of the bench press, which for most people is going to be the hardest point, the biggest sticking point, because you're most strong on the eccentric portion of the bench press, but you're weakest at the bottom point there, okay? And yes, with all these techniques, you're going to have to drop the weight because it's really focusing on your technique, speed, and different portions of the bench press, okay? For one of them, you may actually be able to increase the bench press because we're actually going to shorten the range of motion in there. And you'll find that this is going to lead to more gains, help you break through plateaus. And these are all things that help me to finally break through and hit my 100 kilo bench press. Okay, so the first one we're going through is speed bench press. So you're going to have to drastically decrease how much you bench press on this one because you can't go really fast if you're trying to do, 80% of your 1 RM, okay? We're gonna have to drop it back to even maybe 40 or 50% of your 1 RM so you can really get that real quick speed with your arms, okay? What this is going to do is teach you to be better at your bench press technique and get a bit quicker. Because the slower we push out here, the harder it's going to be, right? If the weight is on our chest, and we can get it off our chest quicker, we're going to be able to push more weight in the long run. So definitely, if you ever lift something, you try doing any kind of exercise where if you do a slow tempo squat or a real quick one, there's definitely a big difference. If you're going really slow in that squat as you descend down, it feels a lot harder than if you do it really quick, if you bash out the reps. So that's what this is going to do. The quicker you push out those reps, the lighter the weight is going to feel. The less time under tension it's going to be, and you're going to push more weight because of it, okay? So let's go into how we do this one, okay? So without going into technique too much, basically when we're going for the bar path, you choose whatever grip you want, okay? You're going to unrack, and the bar path we're going here is over your chest or over your shoulders, I suppose here. And then you're going to pull down, okay? So just below your chest. So the way we do the speed bench press is we start just above our shoulders. Make sure you get your feet right. You're going to break the bar and you're going to slowly descend, come down to the bottom and then drive up as quick as you can, okay? So I haven't got any weight on here, so you can find when I go all the way up, I kind of jump a bit. If you're adding on, 10 kilos on either side, it should keep your back on the floor, on the bench press, okay? But otherwise, we're trying to pack our shoulders, get a nice arch, slowly come down to here, and then go as quick as possible on each rep. What we don't want to do I would say for all these bench press exercises, is pressing from where your shoulders are, okay? Because it's going to be using a lot more deltoid rather than your chest. If you're pressing from below your chest, you're going to get a lot more chest working and use those bigger muscles. And also what you can see is if I go up here, it's like I'm in a bit of a weaker position, okay? So my elbows are flared, they're away from my body, and that's gonna make it a lot harder to stabilize the shoulders. Whereas if we go a bit lower, I can use my lats a bit more, and my shoulders don't have to work as hard to keep me in this position, and which means I'm gonna lift a bit more weight, okay? So we go from here, stack our hands, drive our heels into the floor, and then press up. With this next one, again, you're gonna have to halve the amount of weight that you normally lift in the gym to do it, because we're gonna spend a lot more time in this bottom position, which is the hardest position of your bench press, okay? So this one's just called pause bench press. So all you can do, you can pause as long as you want. I usually just do 1 or 2 seconds. And again, because it's lighter weight, you'll be able to drive out from the bottom a lot quicker, okay? So this one, you could probably do a lot more heavier weight than you would with a speed bench press, okay? But this is just a normal bench press with a pause or 2 on the bottom, okay? So there's really not that much to it. Again, you're unracking above your shoulders here. You're gonna pull it down to here and count to 1, 2, and then drive up, okay? So coming down, make sure you got that big chest, and then driving up. With the bottom portion of this one, it gives you an opportunity to reclaim that position, really own that bottom position. So what you want to think about when you're coming down here is really focusing on breaking that bar and getting that big chest and really getting a really nice squeeze at the bottom there, okay? So what that might look like is you'll come out here, I'm pulling it down to here, and that gives me an opportunity to really squeeze my elbows towards my rib cage and then drive my chest up to the sky, okay? And then pushing up. So again, I come down here and I get a second or 2 down here to really squeeze those shoulders down and back. So I'm in a great position to drive it out of the hole there. So the last few are a little bit sucky because you have to drop the weight. Getting the speed is a little bit of fun. Pauses not so much more fun. But the next one you'll enjoy a lot more because it will actually help you to lift more weight than you normally would in the bench press. So essentially we're halving the range of motion of the bench press so that you can focus on just the top portion of the movement. There's different degrees that you can do this. There's also different versions of this, like a 2-board press is another one, where you've got 2, I think they're 4x4s, where you'd stop about here. This might be a little bit higher, but it's just focusing on the top portion of that. So I found this particularly helpful when I was going for my 100, where I could actually do 95 to 100 on here to get my confidence up. So then when I actually did the full range of motion, I wasn't as, I suppose I was a bit more prepared for that heavier weight to be in my hands to push off my chest. So the way we do this is, I would say, you just you think about, we're gonna halve it. So you might have the pins at about elbow height here. So if I lie down, so we're going here. So they're just about in line where my elbows are. And we're gonna be pressing from this position. You can have it a little bit higher if you want. It's really up to you, but I think just halving the portion of the bench press is enough for it. So there's not really much to say about this. So where the bar path for this one, you're kind of hitting in between your chest and then between your shoulders. So you don't want to be pressing from all the way up here, and you don't want to be pressing from below your chest, okay? So somewhere kind of in the middle, okay? So below my chest is probably about here, so I might have it in this portion, okay? So what we're doing here, you're gonna be able to load this one up and pressing up as high as you can. Okay, resting in the bottom position there, and then just pushing through. Okay, you're starting from a dead position. That might make things a little bit harder, but because you're halving the actual portion of the bench press, you should be able to push lots more weight. So again, what this is doing, because you're starting from a dead weight position, is your body, it gives you a chance to really own that position before you lift it. So you really have to break the bar, get your shoulders down and then back a little bit, bit of an arch, and then push through, okay? Okay, so there you have it. There are my 3 ways you can increase your bench press without increasing the weight, okay? Except for the last one, which is the pin press. So Anyway, what you can do is when you hit that plateau, add a few of these in instead of your normal bench press, and you'll find that you'll get better at the technique of your bench press, more stable. So then when you go back to lifting heavy, you'll be able to lift more weight, and that's what it's all about. So if you're having trouble with going in and out of the gym, doing bench press, you end up with shoulder pain or any kind of issue. But every time you get out of pain, go back to the gym, it always comes back. I've got a special guide just for you called the 7 Lifts to Bulletproof Your Body After Injury. I'll pop that guide down below. You just click on the link and it'll get sent straight through to your email. My name's Adam. Thanks so much for watching. I help you return to the gym and stay there.